a new but old meeting spot. We haven't met here in a long time. But we're gonna go meet up with Wide Body Mopar Mike. That's his Instagram, link in the description. And we're gonna look at his Scat Pack he calls Hellcat. Alright folks, like I said, we're going out to meet up with Wide Body Mopar Mike and his Scat Pack that he calls Hellcat. And man, has he done, you're not going to want to miss this one for sure. Man, has he done some work to his 6.4, boy. That thing, that thing is crazy. Crazy. So we're heading to meet up with him now. If you remember, he was on the channel before. I'll put a link up here to that video so you can see what he had done prior to what he's done now. What he's done now is just ludicrous. it's ludicrous. But yeah, you people with Teslas in ludicrous mode, yeah, you don't have nothing on this guy. You ain't got nothing on Wide Body Mopar Mike. So we're gonna meet up at the spot, and we'll be back in a second. All right, folks, y'all remember Wide Body Mopar Mike? We had him at the track. At that time, it was totally stock except for Pro Charger, and he ran best was a 10.8, right? Yep. 10.8. So let's take a look now. So we'll take a look, and then we'll have Mike go over everything. So there's the Pro Charger, and here's all the new stuff. So all right, I'm gonna flip the camera. Mike,
all right,
it's all yours. Go down.
We'll go down the list.
Go down the list.
It's a Toyota motor down. Did the Modern Muscle 2618 drop-in pistons with the Manley rods. Upgraded bearings on the rods. Did the MMX max effort supercharger cam. It's pretty close to their custom grind. Holly Sniper race intake manifold, nitrous outlets, 90mm universal kit. Can't tune the car on nitrous just yet due to transmission slipping.
We'll get to that.
I have a 4 fuel system. It's the L4 setup, so it's dual Walbro 525s with their controller, their regulator, their fuel filter, ATI 18% overdrive dampener, ZPF or ZPE grip tech pulley. I did one pulley down. We are at 10 pounds of boost, making 740 on pump gas, 800 on race gas, and probably close to 1,000 once the nitrous can be brought on. Outside of that, nothing else really changed. Suspension's gonna have to change due to I do now have wheel hop at a 60-mile-an-hour roll. And yes, people are gonna say only 10 pounds, but remember that intake manifold is a big volume sucker. So with the stock intake manifold, it would have been about 13-14 pounds. Anybody interested in a full build list, I can give you a full build list and breakdown. I do have some custom things. It's not completely custom. I will show the how the nitrous is set up. It's going to change here soon. The nitrous is actually on a Holley NOS controller. It's all done by RPM. Nitrous gauge is in here. Still on water meth for the street. Okay. It adds some carbon fiber to the car.
Got to get some looks with the speed.
Yeah, you got to have both. All right, so in the back, This is what it looks like in the back of a race car. The bottle was not in the car, of course. It's on the street. But everything's on fused. The underneath you can see the fuel setup, the cables. All my wiring, the way I do it, is always off a fuse block, main line coming in, the fuse block and into the relays.
So that's nitrous right there?
No, that's water meth.
That's water meth?
That's just for
water
the street.
Okay,
That's for when it's really hot outside and I want to keep detonation away on pump gas.
Okay, okay.
When it's this cold outside, I don't need the water meth. It'll actually make the car stupid rich.
All right, as much as I don't want to do this, give us a start and a couple revs. I'm gonna try and stay.
I'm not standing behind it.
I'm gonna try and stay as close as I can because this thing is loud.
I know.
Man, you can feel that stuff hitting you in the chest. I know there was a video of mine when I was up in New York. Guy said you could feel it in your chest. That stuff there is so deep, you can feel that rumble in your chest. Man, that thing's hitting it. And you got what, the Toyo triple 888Rs, right?
For the street.
Yes, sir.
For the track, gonna run new setup from the F14s. Still gonna run the Mickey R's in the rear. We're gonna try to stay on 17s as long as we can without going to a 15-inch conversion. I think it can be done if I don't leave stupid hard. Now, future plans for the car, since the transmission doesn't like nitrous, we're probably gonna do a turbo 400 conversion. Wow.
All right, so for you 8 HP 70 folks, so 5764, right about 800 is where Mike hit the max with that transmission. So if you're getting to the point where you're hitting 800 and some change rear wheel horsepower, you're probably going to start having to look to either build the transmission, or like Mike is going, either a turbo 400 or a Hellcat swap or something for a transmission. So shake and bake, we'll see if we can get there. Mike's laughing at me now, right? We'll see if we can get there, and that's probably not going to be the end of the year. So this ain't about shake and bake. This is all about Mike and the Hellbee. So let me get back over to Mike. Anything else we got?
That's it. That's really it. I mean, we're gonna try to see what it does this season. Hopefully the transmission will cooperate and at least make it halfway through the season.
Hold out for a little bit.
I'm not gonna race it as much as I did last year just because of the transmission part. So
right,
we are planning March 7th for the first shakedown pass, and then the Hemi shootout at the end of March, because I do have a little call out with Mr. Jim Redeye Racing. It's an expedition race.
All right, the call outs are coming, folks, so stay tuned.
It's a fun call out. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to tip 7s this year for his new build.
Whew.
So it's literally going to probably watch a stock Scat Pack wide body versus a stock Redeye, but just at stupid faster passes. Hopefully, I'm hoping for a 9.9 pass, but if I don't get it, I'll probably be even more happy because I don't have a cage. So that's
right.
the other debacle is I want the best of both worlds, but I have to come to terms that it will be more of a race car
than a street, yeah.
So anybody that's thinking about doing it, you're gonna have to really think hard about if that's what you want to do.
Right.
So
right. So yep, think hard. Even the route I'm going, you gotta think hard, because once you start digging that hole, you can't stop digging, man. It's you're just gonna keep right on going.
That's the problem with going fast.
Yep.
You always want to go faster.
It's a drug addiction. That's probably the most expensive drug addiction. Most definitely. I mean, your race fuels can cost you, even when you're running E85, it's gonna cost you because you're gonna get addicted.
Yeah.
And the pump E85 is just not gonna be for you because it's like 50 horsepower gain.
Right.
And it's so up and down that when you get into actual track racing, you'll want a fuel that's consistent with your build.
Right.
So it's between you and your tuner, and just remember, you need to make a good relationship with your tuner. So
that is definitely key. Definitely key.
If you guys don't vibe, the car will never become what you want it to be. Just like you and the car have to become one as well. So If you want to talk to it like it's a woman, go for it. There are back secrets, of, having problems when you're building a car. So don't think that it's like a light switch on off.
There it is, wide body Mopar Mike on Instagram. So
Make sure you follow me.
let's go for a quick ride, man. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go for a quick ride. All right, folks, we're getting mounted up here. Yeah. Take a ride in Hellby. See what this bad boy can do. Safely, that is.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all, we are in Mexico also. It's a little cold down here today, but we are here.
I never knew it got this cold in Mexico.
I know.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Woo! So you can try and run up maybe Davidsonville, just turn around and come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured we'd get up here on
Up on 50. 50's so iffy, man.
Yeah, kind of like that guy right
I mean, when it comes to traffic.
there. Oh yeah.
Traffic and cops. Yeah, that night you passed me, I was like, God, no.
My son couldn't say a word until I let off the throttle because I'm pretty sure Don's upset right now because we passed him like he was parked.
I'm trying to remember if I was completely in it or if I was just starting to let off.
He can't remember
But,
either. He said he's like I think Don was fully in it.
You were rolling, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm getting that same unburnt fuel. It seems to be running a little rich because it's running like 13s.
So the biggest thing is that when it gets super cold outside,
It'll run rich.
it'll run rich because the computer's taking in the
Trying to
free
catch up.
horsepower.
Right.
So for people like me, if I was to turn my meth on right now, I would literally throw this car in limp mode. And limp mode, as in you'll hear it where it sounds like you got a misfire, but there's no misfire. Your check engine light will flash at you.
Right.
And you'll know you'll have a weird sound, and sometimes it sucks because you just got done
That's exactly what
roll
mine does.
racing somebody and you win, but yet you're pulling over because yours is in limp mode. Yeah.
That's exactly. Mine will blink. Sometimes it really depends how long I'm in it. It'll get up into that top end. It'll blink, and if I get out of it, it'll be fine. But if I keep in it for a little while,
Yep.
and then get out of it, you can hear it. It's like, and then you pull over, turn it off, sit for a second, start it back up, and it's
Clears
fine.
it up.
Clears it up. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that panic when that happens. You can still drive. Basically, it's just telling you, I don't like what's going on.
Right.
And it's going to protect itself. Same back to the transmission part. But the 8-speed transmissions, the TCM is built into the valve body, so its fail safes are built in. So it's actually there to help save you. But if you tune it out, you kind of hurt yourself.
Right.
You go into uncharted territory.
Because I noticed that with Jay. So when I was NA, I could tell he took out the torque management because it was shifted much harder.
Yep.
And now I noticed when I went with the Procharger, he put that back in just to be safe. You got enough room, man?
Yeah, I'm
Don't worry, he'll be in
good.
the
Still
trunk.
have catalytic
He'll be in the back seat in a minute.
No catalytic converters. It's fully catless. For people that need cats for emissions, they can actually do the green cats. They have proven that they still make decent power and don't rob from you.
Ooh, hear that blow off valve.
So the one thing that I
sooner or later it's gonna flatten out. Where this is just like a turbo, it just keeps right on rolling.
One of the other mods that I didn't mention, I did do the Hellraiser thermostatic block bypass. Our transmission, every transmission has a thermostat to regulate fluid from going to the cooler, and that's emissions based. They want everything hot so it burn the fuel at a higher efficiency. Well, when you're racing, and Don can testify that he's seen his trans temps close into the 200s.
Yep.
On a day like today, after me just beating on it, we are only at 118 degrees on a 34-degree day. So
eventually I'm gonna wind up getting that. That's another one on the list.
It's probably one of the best, cheapest mods you can do. It is a pain to do when the engine and everything is in. And like I said, we did limp mode. She didn't like it. It's an easy, effective mod. Basically, if you were to do a turbo 400, you wouldn't have a thermostat anyways. You would go with an aftermarket trans cooler with a fan, because the idea is to keep the trans as cold as possible. It's kind of like talking to some of the Cummins guys. They run their 68s so cold to keep from having slippage, because you want to guarantee fluid is everywhere in the transmission.
Right, absolutely.
So if you can, as one mod, I think everybody should do it, even when they're just cam only, because it'll save the transmission. You can get longer life out of the transmission. And again, that's Hellraiser Transmissions out of Florida that sells that. Nobody else sells that.
Yep. Mine does the exact same thing. So I'm not as worried. I really wasn't worried about it, but like everyone hits me up in the comments every time, and I'm like, so got it, understand it. Not worried.
What I have figured out is the PCM actually is overloading the fuel. So when you do a hard pull like that, it actually dumps way much fuel, and you let out and there's not enough air coming in. So it's trying to play catch up.
Right.
So that basically it's all the oxygen sensors telling the computer you're way too rich, because you will wind up with O2 codes even when the rear O2s are turned off. You can still get an over rich code. It is a pain in the ass, and the way you'll know that you ran rich is like that.
I gotta do that too. Mine will do that sometimes.
She doesn't want to fully crank. She'll crank, but she doesn't fully want to start. I call it welcome to the big cam life. Blower cams, it all depends on your application. Like mine, everything came together very well, and a lot of it had to do with the intake manifold and the cam itself. Some people will just buy off-the-shelf parts and pray. I'm not an off-the-shelf parts and pray kind of person.
I want to make sure stuff works.
I will do a shit ton of research, and I do a lot of research. So again, if you got a question, hit me on IG, and I'll probably have the answer for you, because I've looked into it. We do know, like Mike Stark that Don goes to, he's another guy that you can pick his brain, especially when it comes to the factory side of the car, like wiring and stuff like that. I pick his brain all the time. He's not gonna like me when it's time to do the Turbo 400, because I already told him, I'm like, Mike, you're gonna flash my PCM for me, because Turbo 400 requires you to make the car think it's a 6-speed manual trans.
Oh, okay.
And there's still a lot of unknown with that. And what we mean by that is nobody's done it on 19s and up, so the CAN bus is a lot different on the computer. So one of crazy.
Right.
You know, and you all seen in the video how the car gets squirrely. I don't drive this thing like that on the street all the time just because of that. For one, you never know what anybody else is doing. If this thing gets sideways, even with traction control on, this thing gets sideways. So it is, I don't know, I call it now a cruiser. I feel like an old guy in like a 55 Chevy just cruising, and every now and then patting the gas, because you just don't know in this cold weather what it's going to do.
What's going to happen.
I mean, the 888s are great tires. Don't get me wrong, they're a great tire, but in this cold weather, they're like rock hard.
Right.
So they don't even know what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, so what do you think? You like it?
Absolutely, man. This thing is this thing is a beast.
Makes
This thing is a
quiet,
beast.
man, listen.
Put you in the
Sucking up the knowledge.
put you in the seat more than you thought it was going to, didn't it?
Sinks you in.
I mean,
man.
the torque is unreal. It's like, man, it hits.
It hits, and it's so like when I took my wife didn't go out in it until after I was fully dyno tuned. And I always say that I've given her like PTSD in life of all the crazy shit that I've done. First time out, I did put it in limp mode, and I actually spun the tires first, second, third. She didn't care about that. All she cared about was how sunk back in the seat she was, and then that we were in limp mode. And it was probably 2 days later that she actually came to me and she goes, that was way more than I actually thought the car was going to be like. Because when you take in, like when I say 10 pounds of boost and the horsepower numbers, people get hung up on the boost number more than the horsepower number. And she kept thinking, well, 10 pounds is nothing. You know, been in cars with 18 pounds.
Right.
And it was a few days later, she even admitted, she said, oh, this is like that one car that you had 19 pounds on, but it came in a lot sooner on this 10 pounds.
Right.
She's like, I don't know if I can ride in it anymore. Because she's worried that I'm going to want more and more even on the street. And then you factor in there's other people out here on the street that they don't care about our cars like we care about our cars. I know people online probably say that we're crazy and all this other stuff. Actually, believe it or not, we worry about everybody around us. I mean, you look at the value of our car, we're worried about that, but we're not, the car can be replaced. Not a big believer in, you know, going out here and showing off on the street to impress anybody.
Do something stupid. But I really, even at your power level, it's still a sinking in feeling, not a throwback feeling.
Right. It pulls you in, and literally, if we had the road to where we knew nobody was going to be around, at literally at 130 mile an hour, you feel like you're in a G-force situation where you can't even say what you want to say until the throttle's let off. It's a weird feeling to really describe. When you start taking people out, they start to notice it, and they're like, I had one where they said, you know what, that's too much. I thought I wanted that, but that's just too much.
Right.
You know what would have been good, Mike? If you had a draggy and did a 60 to 130 before and a 60 to 130
Yeah, we did talk about that. My son kind of jumped in my ass about not buying a draggy.
Yeah, they had them on sale. I got mine for 120.
So I think we're gonna wind up getting one, only because my son is like so hell bent on wanting to see what the 60 to 130 is.
Yeah, I mean, I got one in the car, but I just haven't used it yet. I'm looking for that right spot where I can do a good 6130
that's the problem.
and do it safely.
It's hard because even when you think you found
especially
a good road
around here.
Even when you think you found a good road at nighttime, it's not. I don't know. I see these guys post these videos and they're passing cars on the shoulder, and I'm just not a big fan of that.
Right.
Spend too much money, man.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other part that gets me anymore is guys will spend all that money in the car and they drive it like it's a $500 hoopty.
Right.
With no care in the world, and then they wonder why the car community has such a bad name.
Right.
You know, I mean.
Yeah, there was a guy did a video. I think he's in North Carolina. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but down there the Mopars have got such a bad rap. The cops are looking for you know, Scat Packs and Hellcats.
You could be
they're looking to pull them over because
you could be an 80-year-old man who just bought your dream car and you drive it to the country store every Sunday. You're getting pulled over.
Right.
We see it all the time, even around here. But a lot of the cops, once they get to know your car, You'll catch them and they'll be like, hey man, rev it up. And they get excited.
That's one thing with the police, right? A lot of those guys are car guys too.
They are.
As long as you're respectful and not, you know, doing anything stupid.
They know that we're gonna go out here and do a hard hit, but they also know we're not gonna go out here and stay on it
Right.
for miles. Because for one, doing it for miles is actually hard on your car, more than most people realize. Your engine temps will climb, even with the greatest cooling system. Your engine temps will climb if you stay in it long enough. And you become more airborne. I mean, this car is lowered, and my front end picks up on a 0 to 60 to 100 roll. The front end is up. Now we've tried getting a roller so people can actually get an idea how much it comes up. It does come up a lot. Like I have a lot of understeer, and having track suspension, having understeer is a scary thing because the tires aren't manted as well as you would like them to be.
Right.
Now, granted, Diablo did just release that new controller for us that had the electronic suspension, so that is a bonus. But I still say it's kind of uncharted.
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
right.
Only a few people have used it. I'll probably be one of them. I'm hoping to see if maybe it can dial the suspension back in a little bit better than what Chrysler has it tuned for. Granted, the wide bodies were tuned for road course, not straightaway. So that is another killer. This car was meant more for road course than straightaway, so we do push things a little bit more to the limit. Going down a straightaway, me and Alan already know we are a few tenths slower than our narrow body cars because of aerodynamics alone. But we can make up for it in the long run. We can downforce.
Exactly. All right, folks. So we took a ride. We did a lot of chatting. Hopefully y'all get a lot of good information. Mike is a wealth of knowledge, so hit him up on Instagram if you got your questions. But if you're stopping in for the first time, hey, check out the channel. If you like what's going on with the channel, do me those few things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, shoot me a comment, and share this platform on your social media. I definitely appreciate it. So Mopar, wide body Mopar Mike, we got SRT Bone in the back. Modern Red Hemi, we're out of here. Adios.